There's a specific kind of tired that has nothing to do with sleep. It's the tired that comes from a lifetime of being completely, genuinely present for people and still ending up as nobody's first thought. And the disorienting part is that you can never point to a clear reason why. You showed up. You remembered the things they mentioned months ago. You were there in the ways that actually mattered. And yet, when something big happens in their life, someone else gets the call. Here's what nobody notices about this. This is not a coincidence. It is not about being too quiet or too available or not putting yourself out there enough. It is a pattern. And what makes it powerful is that its roots are almost invisible, which is exactly why it keeps repeating. Well, by the end of this, you're going to understand the exact psychology behind why this keeps happening. And it is going to completely change how you see yourself in a way that feels like finally being able to breathe. So let's actually talk about it. You give a lot, not in a loud way, but in this kind of way most people don't notice until it stops. You are the one who remembers, who initiates, who holds space for other people's hard weeks without making it about yourself. You offer the kind of steady and consistent presence that everyone claims to want in a person, and very few actually know how to show up for in return. And you carry this question quietly everywhere you go, this low hum underneath everything. Why, when I give this much, does it keep going only one way? Think about your friendships for a second. Really look at them. You are the one who plans, the one who follows up. You remember the thing someone mentioned offhandedly 3 months ago and bring it up at exactly the right moment. You check in during the hard weeks. You send the message. You show up. And then, one day, you don't. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you're going through something of your own for once. Maybe you're just waiting to see what happens if you stop holding the whole thing up. The contact stops and nobody comes looking. And you sit with this quietly devastating realization. You were the engine this entire time. The whole thing ran on you. And you didn't know that meant you were also invisible inside it. They'd call you one of their closest friends and mean it completely. But you have never once been someone's first call. You are the friend people appreciate, but not the one they need. And there is a distance between those two things that is vast and almost impossible to explain to someone who hasn't lived inside it. Here is the question you've never had a real answer to. Why does this keep happening? Here is what psychology actually says. Not about you necessarily, but more about the people who keep doing it. When someone is reliably, consistently, and unconditionally present, the people around them stop generating urgency about showing up because something in their nervous system quietly registered. This person is safe. This person isn't going anywhere. This person doesn't require effort to keep. Researchers who study attachment have found that people are actually more activated by connection that feels uncertain. Relationships with a little friction, a little unpredictability, something to work toward. The relationships that feel guaranteed are the ones people stop working for. It's not really out of cruelty, but out of something closer to instinct. The very things that make you worth choosing are the exact things that make it easy for people to take you for granted. Your reliability, your emotional consistency, the fact that you genuinely show up. You never made anyone feel like they were at risk of losing you. So most of them never stopped to think about what losing you would actually mean. And when that becomes the pattern, when people consistently fail to treat your presence as something worth protecting, your nervous system starts adjusting. Psychologists call it the fawn response. What happens when a person learns across enough experiences that the way to stay close to people is to keep themselves accommodating, easy, undemanding, not because that's who they are at the core, but simply because that's what the people around them kept rewarding. The moments you needed something were the moments people pulled back. So you learned to make your needs smaller, to package them so quietly they barely registered as needs at all. And then something else happens. When connection has historically come with subtle conditions, when you've learned across years of experience that people stay when things are easy and drift when they're not, Your nervous system stops fully relaxing around people. It stays alert, always scanning. A delayed reply, a tone that's slightly cooler than last time. Your brain catches all of it and runs quiet background assessments. Is something shifting? Did something change? Are they pulling away? Researchers call this hypervigilance. From the inside, it just feels like paying close attention. What it actually is an invisible, exhausting, full-time job that nobody else in the room can see you working. You sit in conversations while simultaneously auditing them. You walk into rooms already bracing for a version of events that may never even happen. That's not a personality flaw. That's just what a nervous system looks like after years of being the last to know you were being deprioritized. And underneath all of it, there is something worth saying clearly. The first time you weren't someone's first choice, it wasn't a friend. It wasn't a partner. It was at home. The people who raised you weren't doing that out of cruelty. They were carrying their own deficits, their own unresolved wounds, their own emotional limits that had been forming long before you arrived. What they failed to give you was simply beyond what they knew how to give anyone. The child who is calm, who asks for nothing, who manages themselves without creating disruption. That child gets less attention, not because they deserve less, but because the adults around them went where the demand was loudest, not where the need was deepest. And you were never loud with your needs. You were just quietly there. And over time, something quiet happens to a person who keeps living this pattern. When the people around you consistently fail to treat your needs as something worth responding to, you stop registering your own needs as real. You calibrate down without realizing it. You take up less space. You become someone who genuinely requires very little. And somewhere along the way, you start calling that a personality trait. People call it low maintenance. They say it admiringly, and they have no idea what produced it. What actually happened is that a lifetime of being underchosen slowly eroded your sense of what you're allowed to want. The bar dropped so gradually, you didn't notice until it was already on the floor. And by then, you'd started calling it strength. Here's what rarely gets said. There is a grief in this that has no clean name. Not grief over one person or over one relationship that didn't work out. It's the grief of a pattern, of a lifetime of almost enoughs, of being in people's lives but never quite in their minds. And underneath that grief is a question you've been carrying for a long time. Am I someone worth fighting for? Well, here is the answer. The people who passed you over were not making a judgment about your worth. They were revealing the limits of their own capacity, their own inability to recognize and stay present to something that actually asked them to show up. Most people move toward what requires less of them, and you have never been the easiest option, not because anything is wrong with you, but because what you offer requires reciprocity. It requires a person to rise to meet it. The ones who chose others over you were not choosing better. They were choosing what cost them less. That was never a verdict on you. It was always a verdict on what they were willing to give. You have spent a long time being the most present person in rooms full of people who didn't fully show up. You gave consistently to people who never paused to ask what it cost. You held things together without anyone noticing the holding, and you were never the problem. The people who couldn't see you clearly, that was a failure of their perception, not evidence of your worth. The ones who are actually capable of choosing you first, without you having to earn it, or manage them into it, or make yourself smaller to keep them comfortable, they are not looking for someone easier. They are looking for someone real. You are that. If this hit home for you, consider subscribing and liking the video. I'd really appreciate it. You were watching Psych Tunes, and I'll see you in the next one.